welcome to chapter 91 of Memoirs of a White Guy, live from my girlfriend Emily's makeup desk. I'm just going to make myself look pretty before we start for the video. Actually, on the video, I look like a zombie today because there's poor lighting, but that's okay. The large majority of people listen to this as an audio podcast because no one, I repeat, no one wants to look at this head for over an hour. And that's fair enough. I wouldn't want to look at that either. But the 10% who watch it online, Godspeed to you all. I don't know how you do it. It's often poor lighting, bad choice of background, mixed with, and there's a lack of consistency with the video, the quality of the footage. But week in, week out, some people will sit through that shit and watch the whole thing. And much respect to you all. Now, it's been 2 weeks since the podcast. This is almost my grand return to the podcasting game because I've been out of it for 2 weeks. And you know what really disappointed me? What really got me down? Not that many people cared. I reckon over the last 2 weeks, I got maybe 10 messages going, "Hey man, where's the podcast?" 10. I worked it out. That's less than 1% of people who listen to the podcast. 10. Wait, how many people? I mean, over like 2,000 people listen to this every week. So, what's that? I'm not very good at maths, but I'm pretty sure that's like 0.5% of people cared. Alright, someone can fact check me on that. I don't care. Alright, I often make mistakes on this podcast. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I talked about why ball sacks are on the outside of your body. I was like, that's so weird. Ball sacks should be internal. And then I got about 50 messages going like, nah bro, ball sacks are internal because something about the body heat and the temperature. And I was like, yeah, cool. I didn't actually care. I just thought it was funny to speculate why ball sacks are on the outside of your body. But thanks for clarifying, you nerds. Right, 50 people messaged me about ball sacks, but only 10 people cared that there was no podcast last week. So fuck you guys, alright? But we're back this week, and I hope people care, and I hope people appreciate it. Now, the reason why there wasn't a podcast last week. Obviously, I love a blame, alright? I love an excuse. I love letting it go to the keeper. Nothing's ever my fault. Evading all responsibility. That's my thing, right? That's always been my thing. Who likes to blame themselves? That's how self-pity starts. That leads to depression, okay? That leads to self-doubt. And we don't want any part of that in this podcast, alright? It's all about positive energy here. So, I'm going to duck and weave all blame and responsibility for no podcast last week, okay? So what I've decided to do is, I've just started making it before the podcast, but thought I should just continue it on the podcast. I've started making the blame map, okay? So, the blame map is a mind map of, I've got a piece of paper here and a pen. It's a mind map so I can kind of get my head around it of who is to blame. Because there's lots of, I guess, reasons as to why there was no podcast last week. I think I went... Look, I'll just explain it, okay? So it starts off at Monday. This is what I've got so far. So it goes Monday, that's at the top. And then Monday, the excuse was, because I sat down to record it Monday, as I always aim to do, because I'm like, oh, we'll get 1 day ahead, and then I'll be able to drop it early morning on the Tuesday. I think I've only ever done that twice, right? But that's always the plan. And then it gets to Monday, and I'm going to blame society's pressure for influencers to stay to stay relevant, alright? That's what I'm blaming for Monday. I had this Love Island video that I filmed on the Saturday and thought, some of these jokes aren't going to be as relevant come Monday because I'm a bit behind on the show. Let's knock this video out as quickly as possible. Plus, I want to give you guys content as much as I can, right? So I was like, I'll knock that out Monday, then Tuesday I can record the podcast. So Monday, I'm blaming society's pressure for I just forgot to write the word for influencers to stay relevant, right? If we didn't have to stay relevant, I would have waited till the Tuesday to edit that video, had the podcast out, and we all would have been well. But no, I was society is to blame for Monday. Now, Tuesday, the day that the podcast was supposed to be released. I put the Love Island video up on my YouTube channel, and within about 4 hours, it got flagged by Channel 9. It got a copyright claim chucked on it, and it got blocked in Australia, Papua New Guinea, and... here's the thing with Papua New Guinea. I know it's pronounced Papua New Guinea, but it's spelt P-A-P-U-A, New Guinea. So... it should be Papua New Guinea, right? Pugot, Peugeot, Papa, Papua, okay? And it also got blocked in Solomon Islands and Vanuatu. So the real blow there was Vanuatu, alright? And I can't hit my Papua New Guinea fan base, alright? And the Solomon Islands, I'm probably pretty big there too. So it pretty much got blocked everywhere in Indonesia, right? And... I mean, yes, some would argue, but Luke, don't you care about that it was blocked in Australia? That's not where I'm trying to build my audience. I only tour there. But I'm really trying to build up my Vanuatu following. So that copyright claim on YouTube was by the Nine Network Australia. Apparently, the Nine Network weren't too happy with some of my complaints that I had with their network, right? And they claimed that some footage I used was bullshit, blah, blah, blah. I cracked the shits. I disputed it. Because if you don't know about that rule, I legally can use their footage if it is, because it falls under a copyright law. I know this is boring, but it falls under a copyright law called comment and criticism. As long as you are commenting on, or like criticizing or giving feedback on a thing, like reviewing a thing, then you can legally show what you are commenting on. Right, so as long as I show a clip, then go, that was fucked, because it's completely legal, right? So they claim this bit of the video where I put this long clip of a girl in a pool, and I also put new audio over it. I put a ticking clock. I changed it. I edited and put a timer in the corner. Anyway, they claim this bit of the video. It got blocked in Australia, Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, and Vanuatu. So I cracked the shits and I disputed that shit, right? I was like, fuck Channel 9. What are they going to do? Like, dude, what are they going to do? Like, you're never going to work at Channel 9 again. Cool. I don't get to be on reruns of the Big Bang Theory. What else do they have? Channel 9. Like, no. You won't be able to be the fucking weatherman talking to Carl Stefanovic. Right, dude, their best show is at 6 a.m. in the morning. Alright, so I was like, fuck Channel 9. Let's dispute that shit. So I spent all day kind of working out the legalities of that. And then I had a few other things to do. I got to the end of the day and I was like, shit, haven't done the podcast. So Tuesday, I'm going to write down Channel 9. And some people are like, but Luke, it just sounds like you didn't do the podcast on Tuesday and you're blaming Channel 9. Shh. That's exactly what I'm doing. Now, it gets to Wednesday. The podcast is 1 day late, right? So we're at Wednesday. I realise now it's not much of a mind... It's not much of a mind map. It's not the blame map. It's more like a blame chain. Because it's just going down. So Wednesday excuse. Guys, Wednesday last week, I sat down and I did the podcast. But Luke, why didn't we hear the podcast? Did you not record it like you've done 20 times? No, that would be stupid. I would never do that again. I hit record at the start of the podcast, got about 15, 20 minutes in, chatted about Love Island, was updating you guys on my week, and then my good buddy Lewis Spears calls me. I should have put my phone on airplane mode during the podcast. As I've said in past weeks, it's a general rule I have from now on. Airplane mode that shit for an hour. I don't need any distractions, but I didn't have my phone in airplane mode because I was Googling something in the podcast. Lewis calls me. I'm like, oh shit. I was waiting for a call from him, but I was just going to call him back after the podcast. I was like, this is probably important. I'll take the call. So I was like, Lewis, welcome to the podcast, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, my name's Jeff. And I was like, all right, that's enough. And I turned off the podcast, and then Lewis and I had a chat about something important that we had to talk about off air, right? And then I was like, I hung up on Lewis and I was like, alrighty, back to the podcast. And that is when I forgot to press play. Or record again. That's when I forgot to start re-recording the podcast. I answered questions, talked for another 25 minutes, and then got to the end to turn the podcast off. Oh! Would you look at that? It hasn't been on. So Wednesday I'm putting down Lewis Spears as to blame for no podcast. But Luke, it sounded like it was your fault. Fine, I'll do a little arrow, and then so now currently I am to blame, right? So then I was like, you know what? The podcast can be 2 days late this week. I'll try again on Thursday. So now I'm going to Thursday on the blame chain. Thursday, right? And also Wednesday, I was like, I'll record it Wednesday night. And then I was opening for Isaac Butterfield. You may have seen his videos online. Guy with the beard, excellent bloke. I was opening for his Melbourne show that night. And yeah, so then I had to duck out to that. Didn't get time. So Thursday, I was like, Thursday's the day. And Thursday, I would like to think I had a good reason. I'm going to write down #forgot. Like not forgot to do the podcast, forgot what I was doing. But also #probably was busy. Because I think there was a reason. I forget what I was doing Thursday. Probably was busy. Great. And then Friday, I was like, alright, it's already Friday. This is supposed to be out on Tuesday. We'll try again next week. And then you're like, alright, Luke, why was there no podcast yesterday? Because yesterday was Tuesday. How come you didn't do it then? Alright. Gets to this Tuesday. So we're at the end of the blame, the end of the blame chain now. And again, this is so I'm not to blame. We get to yesterday night, right? And I was like, I'm doing the podcast before the radio show because we're doing 10 to 12 p.m. on Fox right now. I was like, yep, I'm going to do it. Tuesday comes around and I'm going to write, didn't get time. Guys, I've realised now. Alright, so you got to go equals, who is to blame? So let's go down. Now, it started off, it was society's pressure for influencers to stay relevant. Definitely not me to blame. Tuesday, Channel 9. So maybe we could write, is Eddie Maguire to blame? And then we might lock that in, Eddie. Eddie Maguire, ? He could be to blame there. Then Wednesday, Lewis called me. So that definitely, the blame is currently on Lewis. Then it went back to me because I didn't turn the camera back on. Thursday, we tried again. #forgot. #probably was busy. So again, not me, just life. That probably goes back to society's pressure to stay busy. Society's pressure to stay busy, right? I'll post the picture of this blame map in the group if you guys want it. It's very unlegible at this point. There's lots of lines and stuff connecting different things. Society's pressure to stay busy, right? So then it cuts to yesterday and didn't get time. Guys, I'm officially blaming the space-time continuum, which means I'm blaming the universe. So please contact all complaints not to luke.kidgell@gmail.com, but to universe.universe@gmail.com, because it's the universe's fault. The universe is to blame, and the only way we could have got there is on the blame chain. So thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. This is the end of the podcast, just for tuning in to me not wanting to take the blame. Obviously, I think we can all agree it was not my fault, and yeah, blame the universe. And by the way, this whole time I've been leaning on writing the blame map on one of Emily's childhood books called The Love of Horses by Anne Alcock. So maybe we should blame the universe, but also thank The Love of Horses by Anne Alcock. It's a hardback cover book with a horse on the front and back. It's all about the love of horses. I realised before the podcast, as I was looking for things to write on, that Emily has a whole stash of horse-related books. This one is Horses, 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 also by Anne Alcock. She must really love horses, and Emily, apparently. You know when you find out about something, like, I always knew Emily was into horses as a kid, but when you see that she has a whole bookshelf just full of horse books, you really start to reconsider all your life choices up until now. Classic horse and pony stories. The world's best horse and pony stories in their real life settings. Selected by Diana Pauline Thompson and illustrated by Neil Puddyfat. Puddyfat. Guys, I'm not sure how to pronounce this guy's name. That's nothing new. The point is, Emily has a lot of horse books. And now that I'm in Emily's room, I've just... here's the thing. When I'm in there with her, I'm blinded by love and, affection. And I'm blinded by, oh my God, Emily's my favourite person. And then she left to go to work before I started the podcast. And this has been sitting on her... chest of drawers for about a year now, and I've never actually taken in how fucking white this is. This is Memoirs of a White Guy, and this is by far the whitest thing I'm ever going to say on this podcast, alright? Strap in. It is a candle, even better, it's an unused candle that's been sitting on a desk with 2 wicks, because fuck, you need 2, because, whatever. It's got a lid on it, right? It hasn't been used. It's been there for a year, and on the side of the candle it says, "Unicorns are awesome. I am awesome. Therefore, I'm a unicorn." We get it. You're white. Jesus Christ! I haven't noticed that for a year and a half. Year and a half that's been sitting there and just been staring me blatantly in the face that my girlfriend is white enough to have... That's not even funny. That's not a joke. Unicorns are awesome. I am awesome. Therefore, I'm a unicorn. No, you're not. You don't have the biological makeup of... The genetic makeup of a unicorn. Because, you know what? You're a human, Emily. You're a human being. You're not even in the horse family, right? You're not a pony. You're not a donkey. You're not a unicorn. Alright? You're so far from being a unicorn. And you know what else, Emily? Unicorns don't exist. So how the fuck are you a unicorn? But I have a candle that says so. Jesus Christ, man. I'm white and I fucking hate white people, alright? Dude, white people suck, alright? What did I actually want to talk about? 17 minutes in. Alright, guys... As you can probably tell by the title of the podcast, I've got a big announcement to make. For those who listen to the radio show live, you may have already heard this announcement before. I announced it on air the other night, and it's quite a big thing in my life, and you're probably, judging by the podcast title, you're probably like, oh shit, I think I know what it is. And it's something, and you've probably been very confused since the start, because you're like, wait, he said he was in his girlfriend's room. I'm confused. Well, I feel like I've been in the closet now with this particular thing for 3 years. Originally, I was out loud and proud, and then society, again, I'm going to blame society on this one. Society's pressure to be cool and to not be stuck in 2005 really got to me. And all I'm going to do is, I guess, it's a little bit like... I haven't even told my parents this yet, so I'm telling you guys first. The only people I've told is Lewis on the radio, all of Melbourne, so anyone who's listening on the radio. So really, no one knows. Only about 50,000 people know this, so you guys are pretty much the first people to hear it, so feel lucky. Guys, I just want to come out and say it. Panic at the Disco is my favourite band. God, that feels good. That feels so good to finally say it. And you're probably thinking, but Luke, we thought it was Blink-182. No. Have you heard Blink-182 lately? They are no one's favourite band, alright? I love Blink-182, love their older stuff. But as soon as Tom left and Matt Skiba joined, who's the guy from Alkaline Trio, say goodbye to good music. Say goodbye to creativity, everybody. Say goodbye to a likeable band makeup, alright? Say goodbye to me coming to your tour. I'm not around. Look, Blink-182 have been and gone, alright? And it was a great time of my life, guys, and I'm over it. But one thing I guess I've never really shared is that from year 9 to almost year 12, it was almost a dead tie between Panic at the Disco and Blink-182. And I guess purely just because society frowns less upon Blink-182 as their favourite band, I like to have as your favourite band, I just always gravitated towards, I guess Blink-182 are my favourite band. But I've had some deep thinking. I've really searched through my feelings and thoughts and going, but what would I prefer to listen to if I had the choice, gun to my head? Guys, it's Panic at the Disco, alright? And I know I know over 2,000 people listen to this podcast, and there's probably one person right now going, wow, this is interesting. But it's something that I felt like I had to tell you guys. And the main thing is, I never get to talk about my favourite band to anyone because it's not cool to like them. And people will know this. If they like something that's not cool, perhaps you like painting, it's like Lewis. He likes painting Warhammer figurines, alright? That's not cool. No one else likes that. Society frowns upon that activity, and he can't talk about it with anyone, and I feel bad for him. So I thought I'd get ahead of the scandal. Obviously, there was a few people suspecting it after my show. I was playing a lot of Panic at the Disco in the pre-show tracks on the later dates of my tour. You may have heard some of their new tracks pumping before the show, and you probably suspected, hey, there's a lot of Panic at the Disco in this playlist, and you're correct, it is. And guys, I'm out now. I'm loud and proud. It's amazing. I feel like I got out of the closet and I'm closing the goddamn door. No, it's much better to face these kinds of things. You know what I mean? I just felt like that was a good Panic at the Disco reference, and only a true fan would do that. But what really got me down was because I missed out on getting tickets to their show. I mean, standing tickets. No one wants to sit in the seat. They're playing Hisense Arena in Melbourne, and I was going to buy tickets for Emily and I and surprise her with something she would never want to attend. And, I missed out on getting tickets, guys. So if anyone knows anyone selling some tickets to their Melbourne show, please hit me up. I want to be there. They're my favourite band, and I don't care what you guys think. And I know there's going to be memes. People are going to send me memes going like, this is Luke. You know, the Jonah Hill one where his hair's slicked back and he looks emo, and it's going to have a picture of my head over it, like, listens to Panic at the Disco or whatever. Cool. You know what? That's fine, because that's me, man. Alright? Be you. Alright? And this is for anyone who's, if you need to come out during the week, it doesn't have to be that you're homosexual. You can come out about anything, alright? Okay, I'm probably going to come out to my parents as soon as I go home, back to my house. I'm going to tell them, I'm going to be like, Dad, I love Panic at the Disco. And he'll be like, what? Who's that? Is that a movie? No, you know what I mean? But the point is that they know, alright? Because they're my parents and they should know. So that's my big news. I hope that didn't shock anyone too much. I hope you guys still like me and still see me for me. Even if you're a rap fan, jazz fan, more of a pop fan, or just give them a go, man. Listen to their new album. And yeah, this is pretty much all comes about because their new album was just banging tunes all around. Really 10 out of 10 hits. So yeah, that's my big news, guys. And some of you may be going, Luke, did you just do this to clickbait the podcast so you could call it I'm Coming Out, kinda, or something like that? Absolutely. You bet I just talked about that to clickbait the podcast. But if you're listening to this now, you've been clickbaited, son, and you're here. So my work is done, and if you feel the need to stick around still and listen, then great. My work here is done, and I've succeeded, and it's 1 Luke, you 0. And I've also managed to get it off my chest that I like a 13-year-old girl band from 2005. So I'm taking a lot of big steps today. Now, before we finish it up, guys, we're only really halfway through the podcast, but I did want to talk about Love Island a tiny bit. Just because I've been making a few videos about Love Island, so you guys already know my thoughts if you've watched that. But if you're not watching this show, I don't know how to describe it to you. It's the worst. But if you thought The Bachelor was shit, if you thought man, okay, imagine being locked in a house in Spain, alright, and then someone films you shit and shower for 6 weeks straight, and then trying to be yourself, right? So they put, whatever, like, I don't know how many people have come and gone through the show, but about 20 fuckwits, right? Some people who you'd never speak to at a barbecue, right? They put them in a room. Then they gave them no privacy. They've all got tats. There's some of the girls, they're either got, they're just girls who were clubbing from the ages of 12 to 26. You know what I mean? They've hit it too hard, and all they've got now is Botox on their side, right? And fake tits, right? There's literally 2 girls on the show who call themselves the Silicon Sisters, then get their fingers together and go, Silicon Sisters, psst, and burn their, right? It's a new type of cancer that scientists haven't discovered yet, alright? I feel like I'm the first one onto it, and the whole of Australia who's watching this garbage. Essentially, look, it's really hard to describe, but all I'm going to say is, the girls are all, it's like a dating show, right? So that's the general crux of it. It's like Big Brother, they all are in a house. It's like Big Brother, The Bachelor, and Pornhub combined, right? They're all in a house, and they just try to fuck each other. And the girls are always like, oh, I'm sick of getting played. I'm sick of getting played. I just want a nice guy. Then they go for a guy who's 26 and never had a girlfriend, and then go, I don't know, it didn't really work out. He's just, maybe, it's just guys, man. No. All the guys on the show, don't go, if you want a nice guy, don't go on Love Island, alright? You're not gonna find, the man of your dreams who's auditioning for a show. It's a place, you know what, I guess, though, it's, a place for those kinds of people to meet each other. Because if you're that low and willing to go on a show like that, then, I guess you can meet people of your caliber of human being. You know, you can also meet people with a brain the size of a fucking peanut. Right? That's generous, actually. I'm going to go a sultana. Brain the size of a sultana. And I think, you know what's funny? Go watch my video on it. They're complete dumbasses, right? One of my favourite parts of the show is, it's because they can't afford a host, right? Because Sophie Monk from The Bachelorette, she technically hosts the show, but it's very clear that the budget is extremely low, and they're like, let's make a show for as cheap as possible. So they don't even pay her to come in and host the show. She'll come in about every 3rd or 4th episode. She's not even in every episode, and she's the host of the show, because they're like, oh, we're not fucking paying you to do your job, right? So instead of her coming in and delivering the people in the house information, they send them a text on a phone, and they're cut off from the outside world. So they're not allowed to go on the internet, they're not allowed to contact their friends or family. They're just stuck in a house with each other, which is how they get the best drama, because they just fight and fuck and fight and fuck. It's like a I don't know, I guess it's just like abusive porn, but you know, they cut away before they actually get a nipple out. But they do show girls walking into the shower, taking their bathrobes off, a quick flash of their ass. And I'm just like, what the fuck kind of waiver did you sign for your ass to be just broadcasted on TV like that? Because I wonder if they know that that's how they're being edited. I mean, they must. They probably don't care. They probably would bend over. But, you know, I mean, because again, they're rocking a sultana up there. There's not a lot of thought going into what they're signing. But that waiver for that show must be hectic. It must be like a freaking encyclopedia of and can we film your scrotum? Tick. Can we film, the clauses of that contract would be disgusting to read. You wouldn't want to read that contract to your grandkids, alright? Because there'd just be stuff on there that's no good. But anyway, so they get sent a text, and because they're all so bored, they just sit around, talking to each other. They literally just do shit. You know what it is? They do shit that me or you would only do when the electricity is out at our house. You know when the power goes out and you realise that everything you've ever loved or enjoy taking part in involves electricity, and you're like, and your mum's like, you could go outside, and you're like, what? And do what? What am I gonna do outside? Speak to a stranger? Make a friend? Fuck you. Alright? Give me my fucking Wi-Fi back. Alright? So that they're doing shit that you only do when you have no access to the internet. They literally, no joke, cut to shots of guys and girls like dressed in no clothes, like either bikini or little shorts for guys, spinning cushions on their fingers like a basketball with one finger, and just like throwing cushions at each other, kicking them. Just shit you do with your siblings when the power goes out. That's how bored they are, alright? So then, occasionally one of them will get a text sent around to these little phones that is only a one-way, like, contract, like, the phones don't have anything on them, it's just a way to be contacted by the producers, right? And the phone will go, biddle-doo, and then they'll go, I got a text! I got a text! I got text! And they just start screaming that they got a text, and everyone's like, he got a text! And other girls like, he got a text! Like, Justin got a text! Great. Got a text! You got a text! That's what it sounds like to me. Alright? You got a text! Every time. 4 times an episode, I got a text! Dude, imagine if you did that shit in real life. You're like at work at your office, and then like your mate goes, hey man, you coming out for drinks tonight? I got a text! Everyone! I got an SMS! It went through a satellite and got beamed back down to my phone, courtesy of Telstra. I got a text! That's how text messaging works. I received one, and I'm gonna reply. Dude, who gets that excited over a text? And it's never good news from the producers. It's always like, Love Islanders, please get ready. Someone is going to go home tonight. Hashtag recoupling. Hashtag couple up or whatever. It's just like, don't get excited because it's never good news. Alright? It's never like, it's just, this show is a new type of cancer, I'm telling you. And that's why I love it. That's what keeps me coming back. If the show improved, I'd stop watching. The only reason I'm watching it is because it seems to get progressively worse and worse throughout. It's amazing. They do pole dancing challenges. That was one of my favourites, actually. They made them do a pole dancing challenge, and there was no point to the pole dancing challenge, right? There's no point for the poles being there. It's just shameless objectification, right? That they all just subject themselves to. And it's fun, because again, it's in the contract. So, they're playing a game like, alright, girls, it was like, guys, you're gonna ask a question to the girls, they have to answer it, but before they answer it, they have to grind on a pole for 30 seconds. And then they go, alright, have you ever been in a threesome? And then they'll go, but first, you gotta hump that pole. And the girls will be like, I'm humping that pole. And it'll cut to a montage of them, like, rubbing their pussies or, like, just lubing up the pole, right? And then they're just rubbing it all over, and then it'll be like, yes, I have been in a threesome. Alright, woohoo! And everyone cheers for some reason. They go, alright, now, Aaron, come up. Alright, Aaron, have you ever sucked a guy's foot? But first, you gotta rub your pussy on the pole. And then it's like, woo! They rub their pussy on the pole, right? And then, not even that, it's not like, oh, this sounds like really sexist. No. The guys do it too. So then the girls ask him questions. Hey Grant, have you ever like fucked a bird before a bachelor party? And he's like, oh, yeah, don't answer yet. You gotta hump that pole. So then Grant gets his external ball sack, which apparently is there for temperature reasons, but who cares? Grant gets his external ball sack and rubs it up against the pole, right? And then you're like, great. Why is the pole there? Just answer the questions. Alright? It's ridiculous. Anyway, so it's a ridiculous show, and you gotta watch it. Look, that's the best ad they're ever gonna get, is watch it for the cancer, because that's all it's got going for it, alright? Would highly recommend a screening, though. And, well, okay, one more thing about the show. They literally filmed a guy's asshole and put it on TV. And you're probably like, Luke, they didn't film his asshole, they filmed his bum cheeks. Nah. His asshole was on television. Beamed down the satellite. Courtesy of Telstra. I got an asshole! I got an asshole! Dude, I saw it on my TV. A guy's asshole, right? They were waxing Grant's asshole, right? It's in episode 9. And they zoomed. They zoomed. Don't hit me with a zoom, alright? Film that shit from far back. The funny part of that is people's reactions as they're waxing his asshole. We all have the capabilities, because all of us who are watching it, our brains bigger than a sultana, right? Where I'm not saying the people who watch that show are intelligent. I'm just saying they're more, like what golf ball size heads like me, right? Just golf ball size brains watching people with sultana size brains, right? And so if you got a golf ball size brain, it's not big, but it's still big enough to be like, I can imagine what waxing an asshole would look like. You get a wax strip and you rip it off. It's not common sense. So don't hit us with a zoom. What are you doing, cameraman of Love Island? Oh, hit us with a zoom. Yuck. Anyway, but again, that must have been in the contract. It got to the point where I was reading this article of Kim, who'd been kicked off the show, and she told news.com.au that they had a camera in the toilet, a GoPro set up. They couldn't even shit without privacy. They were being filmed when they shit. So they must actually sign a clause to be like, yes, my asshole can be televised on TV if you see fit. This is what I would do if I was in that situation, right? Just to assert my dominance over the whole editing crew and the producers. You walk in to the toilet. You look the GoPro dead in the eye, day one of being in the house, right? You squat up on the toilet seat, right? Like a caveman. And you put your feet up in the toilet seat. You lean back so your asshole is on display, right? You look that GoPro dead in the eyes and you shit out of your asshole and wipe from the front. And so some guy in the fucking editing bay has to watch that, and he will never want to look at your asshole again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you become the alpha of the house, alright? So if you're moving into a new house, with roommates, or if you're moving, you're studying abroad and you're going to college, you're in America, there's a few international podcasters who listen to this. It doesn't matter the situation. If you're moving into a new household and you want to become the alpha, shit with the door open, squat up on the seat, and you do that shit, alright? And you make sure someone walks past right as your bumhole's on display. Doesn't matter, guy, girl, I can guarantee no one will be fucking with you for a long time, alright? That's how you assert dominance. And I actually got us thinking. We're thinking. It was before our radio show last night. I was brought up the question to the team. All right, we obviously had some time to kill. We'd finished planning the show, and I think I made a joke about my butthole, and because obviously there's some highbrow humor being thrown around, and I said something like, me and my fancy rim, and then I was like, wait, I don't think I've ever seen my butthole. And then I was like, can you see your own butthole? So then we started looking between our legs, going could you see, if you wanted to, could you look at your... And then we worked out, we think there is a way that you could look at your own butthole. You had to... This is highbrow shit. You had to put your foot up on a desk and then bend all the way down. And we think maybe you could see your butthole. And then we'll just go around the team, have you ever seen your own butthole? And then there was, look, I don't want to say names, but you guys know the people in our team, and all I'm going to say is, I was the only one who has never seen my own butthole before. There's one person in the team who was checked in a mirror. One person in the team, and I think you can probably guess who that is, took a photo of his butthole, just to look at it once. And yeah, So I felt really like the odd one out. So I guess, if you want to get involved with the show, luke.kidgell@gmail.com. Have you seen your own butthole? Is it worth giving a look? And I'll consider it during the week. But yeah, I just realised that I don't think I've ever seen with my bare eyes my bare ass. I mean, I've seen my bum in a mirror, obviously, but I've never I know this is graphic for some people who mightn't be enjoying this chat, but it is quite interesting, just purely on an anatomical level, that humans are designed, which is very good, and it's good that evolution has done this to us, where it's really hard to see your own butthole. And I would like to thank apes and, cells and stuff for making me that way. Because if they gave me like a flexible neck where I could just reach around and give it a lick, that would suck, right? Not that I'd do it, but, I'm glad we don't have the capability to do that. So yeah, just some food for thought, guys. Can you see your own butthole? Gets you thinking, doesn't it? And this is the Thoughts Podcast. Sounded like one of those science podcasts then, where like, anyway, let us know during the week, and you have a think about it. But this is science, alright? There's nothing funny about that. I didn't bring that up for comedic purposes, purely just for the scientific element. Now, we'll do a few questions, and then I've got to talk about a thing, which I said I was going to talk about 2 weeks ago. So you may remember from 2 weeks ago, my pawpaw incident. After 7 years of losing pawpaw creams and lip balms and different things, I finally finished one after 7 years of trying. And apparently, I inspired a few people, and we got some great feedback. This first one is from Emma. It just says, "Hey Luke, in regards to your recent pawpaw accomplishment, I thought I'd give you a little story about my own pawpaw accomplishment. The crosses borders. Wow." So this is a international pawpaw incident. Get keen. So in recent January, I went to America, and so it being January in Seattle, I knew the pawpaw would be essential. Packing it in my bag, I travelled around for 3 weeks, making sure to never lose my pawpaw. Respect, Emma. Then, in the last night, I was staying with a host. I made 100% sure to pack everything, and I did. Except for the pawpaw, which I had about 10 squeezes left in. Oh, Emma. So close, yet so far. I've been there, and I feel you, alright? And don't let that get you down. So you're probably thinking, Luke, this isn't a good story. This is heartbreaking. Why are you reading this? Because it has a happy ending. Emma went above and beyond. Alright, where are we at? Okay. I was devastated on the pressurized plane when my lips were cracking and I couldn't do anything for 14 hours. Of course you would have been, Emma. When I got home to Sydney, I immediately asked my host to post it back, telling her I'd deposit the money for shipping into her account. So I paid $14 for my new pawpaw to be shipped back so I could finish it and get those last 10 squeezes out. I applaud you immensely. No, Emma, I applaud you immensely. That is the commitment and the never give up attitude that you need to finish a pawpaw. Only people with that level of commitment will ever finish one. Because we all make mistakes. We all have pockets that it slips out of. We all have brain fades where you leave it on a desk. But the commitment to trace it back and track it back down, that is the commitment of a true pawpaw enthusiast. And Emma, keep doing you. It was great to hear. What a heroic story. This one comes in from Kayla Henderson. I'm not sure if this is a question or a pawpaw thing. Hey Luke, I was considering spicing up my greeting, but because you're a basic white guy, I figured it might be a bit too hot for you to handle. Fuck you. But that's true. It's true. If you had have said like, "Ciao Luke, come stay," I would have been like, well, what? So I'm really glad you went with "Hey Luke." Definitely do not spice up your greetings, alright? Because I will not be able to handle them. Anyway, I wanted you to email you to congratulate you on finishing an entire tube of pawpaw cream. That is some serious commitment, and I wanted to ask you to help with a little first world problem of mine. Hey, this is your guy. If you want help with first world problems, oh boy, I'm your guy. Oh, speaking of first world problems, you know what I discovered I hate during the week? When you're chewing chips in front of the TV and then you can't hear the TV properly because the chips are so loud in your mouth. It feels like your whole head is one big... It's just a crunch party, and the sound of the chips overpowers what's on the TV. Fuck, that really grinds my gears. Anyway, so yeah, I'm the king of first world problems, Kayla. So, there's a really nice guy that I work with, here we go, and I'm quite interested in him, and he's also showing interest in me. Woohoo! We both work a majority of our shifts together, so we see each other often, which would make things very awkward if we attempted and it failed. Should I try and pursue this, or just remain friends? Keep making ballsack jokes, and I can't wait for my Shackers shirt to arrive. Hey, will do with the ballsack jokes, and also, I hope your Shackers shirt has arrived. It should have arrived by now. So, we both work... Okay, so this is a classic case of you like a guy at work, you think he likes you, but you don't want to shit where you eat. And I get that. And here's what my thing is. I've seen work relationships fail in the past and it become very awkward, but I've also seen work relationships blossom. People are very happy together, and I've seen people even get married, right? To someone at work. I mean, just watch The Office. Pam and Jim. It's the ultimate love story. But I would say, if you think he's interested in you, vibe it out. Here's what I'm going to say. It's not awkward until you kiss, right? And then if it doesn't work out, then it's like, remember the time we kissed? That's weird. Anyway, or even or whatever. As soon as the relationship becomes physical, that's when it gets awkward. I truly don't think it's awkward if you have a discussion and going, I like you too. And then if you're both keen to pursue it and get physical, great. Perfect, and it shouldn't be awkward. And hopefully it works out. But if you jump in too early, don't really have a discussion, get physical, and then it doesn't work out, then it's quite awkward. Alright, so I would say definitely work out if he likes you. Maybe have a chat, mull it over with him, and then hopefully it works out, Kayla. So I'm going to say give that guy a crack, alright? Just because you work with him. And you know what? So what? Alright, if you think he likes you and you like him, and then it doesn't work out, it's a bit awkward, hey, no harm in giving it a go. You'll just hate your life at work. And that's fine. Get a new job, alright? Everyone hates their life at work. Welcome to the real world, alright? Like I can talk, I don't have a job that's hard. I'm currently at work right now, and I'm solving your actual problems. Well, thank you very much, Kayla. I hope I helped with your problem. I would say give it a crack. Alright, let me know how it goes. I want to see if old mate is interested in you. Let's hope he is. This next one is from Jack, and it's a celeb spot, so this should be really exciting. Hi Luke, I have a celeb spot for you. I was on a school tour with our pipe band, and we were getting ready to play at a castle in the middle of buttfuck nowhere in Scotland when I saw Russell Crowe walking past with his kid clutching a plastic sword in his hand. I have a feeling he was slightly more intimidating in Gladiator. Cheers, Jack. Now here's how we rate a celeb spot. Location, celeb, and what the celeb was doing at the time. Mate, you've knocked it out of the park in all... And look, unless he was filming a movie in the middle of buttfuck nowhere in Scotland, then perhaps it's maybe not a weird place to see him. But I would say, because it's quite a remote place you've seen him in buttfuck nowhere. So, and also in Scotland, that's not where you expect to see Russell Crowe. He's from New Zealand, and he often resides in Australia or the US. So Scotland is pretty out of place. He was clutching, and also Russell Crowe, he's an A-lister. He was in Gladiator. He's been in everything, right? It's Russell Crowe. Boom, amazing celeb spot. And then his kid, with his kid clutching in a plastic sword. You don't expect that from an A-lister. You never expect... I mean, you expect him clutching a real sword as the Gladiator. But plastic, that's pretty out of character for Russ. So, Jack, really good celeb spot. One of the better ones we've had. Keep up the great work. Keep hunting out there for those wild celebs. Keep doing you. This last one is from Chris. So we're just knocking them out quick today, just because didn't do a podcast last week and had a few to get to. And next week is a big guest episode with the most highly requested guest on the podcast. So if you want to find out who that is, go look at the poll in the Facebook group. Chris said, "Hey man, I love your stuff. A quick question for the podcast. I'm always interested when you speak about all the different stand-up gigs you do. What is the hardest gig you've ever had to do? Is there one that stands out?" Now, I think I have been asked this question before on the podcast, but I've got a new... So since then, since I last answered it, I have a new gig that was easily stands out as the hardest gig. I think I told the story about, like, the heckler that I had from that episode ages ago was previously one of the weirdest / worst gigs I've ever had, but this one was definitely the hardest. It wasn't the worst gig I've ever had, but one really stood out as the hardest. About a week before my Brisbane and Sydney show, I did a week run at the Comics Lounge, which is where you go from Tuesday to Saturday every single night, performing with some of the biggest acts in the country. And one night, the last night on the Saturday night, so it's huge Saturday night crowd. It's completely sold out, 500 people in a room, all ready to laugh. And I had to follow Dave Hughes. And international people, Dave Hughes is the biggest comedian in Australia. He's on TV, radio, everyone knows who he is. Household name. Everyone goes nuts. When he walks in, everyone just loses their shit and goes he almost got a standing ovation when he got announced onto the stage, right? And what was supposed to happen was I was supposed to go on earlier in the night, and then the order got mixed around because a few people had to leave early because they had an early flight the next day, and I was like, nah, it's cool, I can stick around, I can go on later if that helps people out. So I went on later in the night, right before the headline act, and that's fine, but on a Saturday night, the audience gets really tired, and they've been watching comedy already for 2 hours, so they're just getting to the point where they're alright, it's almost 11 p.m, we should go home. People start thinking about how they're going to get home, and generally if you go on at that time of night, it's a harder gig anyway, because they're a less focused audience, right? No matter how good you are, I've seen some of the best comedians in the world struggle in that time slot. So already that was going to be difficult, but I was like, that's fine, I'm happy to do it because I'm the fucking best, right? So then it's someone goes, oh, by the way, Dave Hughes is popping in, don't worry, he should be on early, it should be fine. I was like, great, cool. And then it gets to the break, Dave Hughes still isn't there, and I was like, okay, maybe he's going to come in my bracket, hopefully he goes after me. Because you don't want to follow that shit, right? Because the crowd's buzzing, they're super psyched that someone from TV has just been there, and it's the kind of crowd that is we watch TV, and that's what we do. It's not the really necessarily that many younger people, so anyone who is age 30 or above loves Dave Hughes, right? I also love Dave Hughes, but I'm hectic into comedy, right? And I respect him as the hardest working man in Australian comedy. I truly think that. So I have a lot of respect for Dave, and he's always been really nice to me backstage, and just chatting, giving advice, and it's just been he's always no matter how big you get, he's always, he's never lost. You know what I mean? He's always really personable, friendly, and a really nice to all the new comedians who come in, and that's something I really respect about him. Because I think as a new comedian, when I first met him, I was like, holy shit, it's Dave Hughes or whatever. And then immediately all that goes away, and he just becomes a really nice person. You're like, oh great, and he makes you feel really comfortable. And I've seen him to do that to heaps of other new comedians who have come in. So I always have a lot of respect for him, and that's why he's so big, and that's why he's so popular. So last minute, I'm about to go on stage, and then the owner of the Comics Lounge comes backstage and goes, hey Luke, do you mind if Dave jumps up before you? He's got to duck off. And I was like, yeah, that's cool, because Dave's like, oh yeah, is that alright, mate? And I was like, yeah, because you're not going to say no to Dave Hughes, right? And I was like, yeah, man, go for it, you do you. And I was thinking, fuck, now it's 11:15 on a Saturday, they're drunk, they're tired, they've about to watch the best comedian in Australia go up there and do a tight 10. He was practicing jokes for the Logies, right? So he was practicing all his best material, he kills, right? Gets to the point where at one point of the show, I'm there chatting with the MC backstage, and the audience just goes like a roar of laughter, right? I thought, oh my god, shit, he's done, right? Because that's the kind of clap you get off maybe if you kill with a banger joke and you go, alright guys, thanks very much, and everyone goes, woo, you were great, right? And everyone's going nuts, right? So I was like, oh shit, that's the end of his set. So the MC quickly ran out, and then we realised, oh no, that was just a punchline. And he almost got a standing ovation. Right, so everyone's going nuts. And then he kills, he almost gets a standing ovation. I've honestly never seen anyone crush that hard. And I was like, great, cool, this could still work in my favour. It's fine, the audience are pumped up now. I could just ride his wave. So the MC goes on and goes like, okay, so like that was Dave Hughes. Thanks like so much, Dave, for coming in. Wow, what a treat for everyone. What a surprise. Now this next guy, he's actually like Dave Hughes where he started. Dave Hughes actually started here as a younger comedian. This next guy, you're gonna love him. He's also on Fox, which is like, you know, where like, you know, so he's coming up. Like he tried to do a thing of, you're not gonna know this guy, but he's an up and comer and already following, like he was trying to get them a little bit pumped, but also like explain to them that I'm not famous and you're not going to know who this next guy is. And then all of a sudden, I get announced on stage and everyone's like, who's this guy? Despite just being told that they don't know who he is, and it was brutal. Look, it didn't go badly. I've just never had to work that hard to keep an audience like... Because there's still people literally in the front row talking about how great Dave Hughes was. I could hear them going, that was unreal. Can't believe I got saw Dave Hughes. And I'm trying to do my set in front of 500 people, and everyone's still buzzing over Dave Hughes. People are like, who the fuck is this guy? There's like 4 people in the audience who know me from videos who were like, woo, Luke, right? And then everyone else is just like, I don't know. It was, anyway, that was by far the hardest gig I've ever had to do. Whenever I got them laughing, I was like, yes, I've got him. And then as soon as I like didn't, they didn't laugh for another 5 seconds, and they'd be like, they'd fold their arms again, like, we want to go home. We've already seen Dave Hughes. Our night's done now. It was brutal. So that was by far the hardest gig I've ever had to do. Following Dave Hughes at 11:15 p.m. on a Saturday night after he almost got a standing ovation. That was truly brutal, but I'm glad I got to do it because now I feel like any gig after that is easy. Like literally, and I went to Brisbane that weekend going like, I'm going to destroy this because Dave Hughes hasn't come on before me. I'm the king right now. Like any gig from that point onwards is now easy. And it's like that with any job. Whenever you have the shittest day possible, you might have a day at work where everything just gets, shit hits the fan. Everything that goes wrong possibly could, like, has gone wrong, and you've dealt with it, and the next day you rock up to work and you're like, mate, nothing could be as bad as yesterday. Let's fucking do this. So it was like that. It was a super good experience to have, but at the same time, brutal. I had to do a 20-minute set, and it was brutal. Like, I was getting laughter, but it was just, compared to how I was going all week leading up to that at the Comics Lounge, it was truly humbling stuff of going like, alright, these jokes are great, but I'm going to continue really working on this and becoming a better comedian. Because I feel like I don't like to blame anything. Like, yes, all those factors were working against me, but I still think that if I had the best jokes of all time, then I still could have done well in that set. And so yeah, it's good. It's a good thing. It was a nice humbling experience to be like, alright, you're good, Luke. You're doing Saturday night at the biggest comedy club in Australia, but you're not that good. So it was very humbling, and doing stuff like that is always good. So that, Chris, is the hardest gig I've ever done. Hope you enjoyed that story. Guys, I think I'll talk about what I was going to talk about next week. Just 'cause it's not that interesting anyway. But anyway, I've done enough, and this podcast has been going for almost an hour. So thank you very much for listening. Forward all complaints for no podcast last week to universe.universe@gmail.com. Not my fault, it's the universe's. And yeah, hope you guys liked it. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.